Ananda-Vrindavana-Campu, Chapter 5, Krishna's Childhood Pastimes. Krishna's Yawning and Childhood Pranks. Yashoda felt as if she had attained the ultimate fulfillment of all desires by having Krishna as her son. Gazing at the lotus face of her darling pleased her more than pleasure itself. One day, Krishna yawned while Brajeshwari breastfed him. His yawning face appeared like a fully blossoming lotus flower. Yashoda saw the earth and all its trees, mountains, oceans, and cities situated in Krishna's mouth. She also saw both herself and Nanda Maharaj within his mouth. Perceiving this touch of her son's transcendental opulence overwhelmed Yashoda with astonishment. What more can be said? On another day, when Yashoda breastfed Krishna, she glanced lovingly at his lotus face and said, "Oh, my darling son, please open your mouth so I can see if any baby teeth have come in yet." Yashoda saw his baby teeth, looking just like tiny drops of her breast milk. In this way, Krishna fulfilled the desires of everyone, just as the rising moon creates happiness in all directions with its soothing rays. Every day it appeared that Pushti Devi, the goddess of satisfaction, directly served Krishna by constantly increasing his pleasure. Sometimes Yashoda held Krishna to her breast, and other times Nanda carried him about on his shoulders. Although Krishna is beyond the force of time, rules, and regulations, by his free will, he seemed to be following the laws governing human beings. At this time, Krishna, whose body is softer than the petals of a lotus, crawled around Nanda's courtyard on his hands and knees. Hearing the sweet tinkling of his own waist bells, Krishna stopped moving and looked with surprise. Turning his conch-shaped neck, he glanced curiously over his shoulder. Seeing these childish activities of Krishna filled Mother Yashoda's heart with inconceivable joy. Crawling across the room, Krishna eventually came to the door leading outside. Birds sat on the arches over the jewel inlaid doorway. Seeing the birds' forms reflected in the jewels, Krishna tried to touch them with his soft reddish fingers, which resembled the pink color aruna of the sky at dawn. The elderly gopis relished these simple yet sublime pastimes of Krishna Kumar. Krishna is completely made of transcendental consciousness, yet he appears to act like an ordinary human child. Although he has assumed a charmingly soft and enchantingly beautiful form, he is actually the concentrated form of the Absolute Truth. Just for fun, Krishna crawled around like a little baby, pretending to be learning about the world. By such pastimes, he filled the Brajavasi ladies with joy. Sometimes, the elderly gopis joked with Krishna and affectionately asked him, "Point to your face, point to your ear, where are your eyes?" Krishna answered by touching those parts with his delicate leaf like fingers. The ladies continued, "Krishna, show us your teeth." Krishna put his lotus hand to his mouth, smiled, and replied shyly, "My teeth have not yet come out." The wife of Upananda asked Krishna, "Who is your father? Who is your mother? Please tell us." Again beaming that irresistible smile, Krishna Kumar pointed toward Yashoda and Nanda Baba with his leaf like hand. The Vrajagopas thrilled with bliss to see this. One nurse, brimming with maternal affection, tested Krishna's speaking ability. He said, "Can you say the names of your parents?" Krishna answered with distinct, softly spoken words. Then, to everyone's amazement, Krishna Kumar transgressed the rules of Sanskrit by combining the first syllable of the word Mata, mother, and the second syllable of the word Tata, father, and said Mata again and again. Sometimes, sometime later, Krishna crawled into a room full of gems and jewels and became afraid upon seeing his own reflection in the jewels. In his enchantment, he tried to erase the reflection with his hand, but he could not remove the image at all. Overcome with fear, Krishna climbed up on Yashoda's lap in order to escape. Krishna tried to stand up and take a few steps on his own. Falling on his bottom, he would look unhappily at Yashoda and cry for a moment. To encourage him, Yashoda held Krishna's finger and walked beside him. Then that lotus face, which had previously wilted from crying, blossomed with a bright smile. Thus Krishna brought great joy to Mother Yashoda with his moonlight face, which bathed his body in the nectar of gentle beauty. One day, Radharani's grandmother, Mukhara, played a joke on Krishna by asking, "Oh darling, go fetch the large clay pot, the low wooden seat, and the drinking cup." With a mild smile on his face, Krishna gingerly held some of the articles in his hands while balancing the remainder on his gorgeous belly. After walking some distance, Krishna rested a little and then slowly lifted those articles and brought them all to Mukhara. The heavy items that he could not lift, he just touched and left alone. Then the wives of Upananda and Sunanda arrived and asked Brajaraj Nanda if they could see Krishna. Due to having previously worshipped great devotees like Narad Muni and others, the wives of Upananda and Sunanda achieved the rare fortune of seeing the charming lotus feet of Krishna. They lifted Krishna on their laps and said, "Oh darling, you are the son of the king, so just drop these things. Such work is not proper for you." Then they rebuked Mukhara and threw away the things Krishna had carried. In so many ways, the village ladies joked with Krishna. One elderly gopi said, "Oh, my beloved Krishna, if you dance for me, I will give you some sweet butter." Krishna danced with delight for the pleasure of Yashoda and the gopis by gracefully moving his legs and gesturing artfully with his hands. At another time, one gopi smiled and said, "What is that, darling, that looks like a golden doll? Is that beautiful golden line adorning your chest your wife?" Everyone laughed when Krishna agreed by smiling and slightly moving his head from side to side. At other times, Yashoda affectionately dressed Krishna with exquisitely fine, beautiful yellow cloth that complemented his attractive waist. Unaccustomed to such opulent dress, Krishna felt bothered by it, so he tried to take it off while frowning and crying. Yashoda greatly enjoyed watching Krishna throw away his clothes. Once the housewives of Vrindavan sat in a lonely place, braiding Yashoda's hair and decorating her with her favorite jewelry. Suddenly, restless Krishna snatched the ornaments from Yashoda's body and tried to put them on again in the wrong places. Thus, Krishna, with a splendid necklace hanging from his chest, gradually completed his crawling pastimes, Charan Bihar. Watching the babyhood pastimes of his beloved son immerse Rajaraj Nanda in an ocean of bliss. From now, we will describe more of Krishna Balaram's nectarian pastimes. In order to see Krishna's childhood pastimes, the demigods had previously worshipped Devaki. But even more venerable than the demigods is Rohini, the mother of Balaram, who had performed an unlimited number of pious deeds. She existed as the embodiment of piety. That person whom Rohini carried within her womb took birth from Lord Krishna, took birth before Lord Krishna. Rohini was famous because her son manifested both the majesty and the sweet love of the absolute truth. All the great sages and realized saints have glorified Rohini, the mother of Baladev. Krishna and Balaram behaved just like ordinary human children. The beautiful display of their pastimes seemed like the movements of emerald and crystal. When they played together, Krishna and Balaram looked like a monsoon cloud and moonbeams, a white lotus and a blue lotus, a pure white swan gliding on the ice blue waves of Yamuna, or a ray of moonlight shining through the darkest night. The fantastic transcendental pastimes of Krishna and Balaram far surmounted the frivolous play of ordinary children. The spiritual bodies of Krishna and Balaram glistened like the attractive glow of blue sapphires and pure crystals. When Balaram embraced his brother in a playful mood of ecstasy, Krishna looked like a blue jewel held within a conch shell. Seeing the mixture of their brilliant effulgences, Yashoda could not tell them apart. At such times, she often mistook Krishna for Balaram. During their childhood, Krishna and Balaram behaved very naughtily. Taking sticks in their hands, they used to chase ferocious animals. Sometimes they ran into blazing forest fires or dashed in front of proud bulls while fearlessly trying to grab their long horns. Their actions terrified Yashoda and Rohini and filled them with apprehension and concern for their beloved boys.